Anthony Ferraro, Dan Mancina. Two blind guys collide to bring you Four Bad Eyes Podcast.
Eyes and ears, welcome back to Four Bad Eyes.
Dude,
I am Daniel Lewis Mancina.
I am Anthony S. Ferraro.
Anthony Susan Ferraro.
That's my mom's name.
Anthony Silverado Ferraro.
There you go.
What is it?
Chevrolet.
That's a C, but
Oh.
you're doing this, I guess.
Damn it, I hate that.
I'm listening.
Do you know how many things I thought were spelled a certain way my whole life because it's just like visual?
Because it's English.
What?
A weird word.
No, just because
Knife.
I knew knife because you would read knife, but
Yeah,
how many times do you read Chevrolet?
They really pound a knife into your head in kindergarten.
They
and crap.
do. And the words with the silent B.
I'm lifting the microphone stand up with my feet and it's leaning on my chin.
No,
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of other ones, but just things. And now it sucks because my spelling's got so much worse because I rely on just dictating things and stuff.
Yeah, mine's horrible.
I used to be so good at spelling.
Just got to read more Braille.
Yeah. But how many times do you read the word Chevrolet? I don't have any
A lot, dude. I'm from
in a book.
from Detroit, Big Three. So
Yeah, but there's signs and stuff everywhere.
there's Chevy,
Ford.
GMC. What are the big three? Ooh, I'm doing us dirty right now. Ford. Is it not Chevy? Is it
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Ford?
GNC,
I
right?
don't know. Like and comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have too many people in the auto industry in my family.
Really? Coming from Detroit?
Well, my stepdad is an engineer, but he worked in the automotive, but he wasn't working for one of the big three.
You never worked?
A lot of people work in the factories.
I was gonna say, did you ever work in the factories?
No, I never did. I don't think I have anybody in my really direct family that worked in their factories.
My dad dropped out of college and started working in a factory, making a couple dollars an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "What am I doing with my life?" And then went back to school.
Yeah, it's good to do a job like that. They'd be like, "Okay, I can do this for 30 years."
Yeah.
Or
I can figure something
or
else.
start
out.
your own business. Yeah, my uncle started his own business,
Yeah.
mechanical shop. My dad was a cop. My grandfather, who moved here from Italy, dad's side, he, what did he do? He would deliver Stroh's beer,
Mm-hmm.
and he worked downtown Detroit, which back then downtown was way worse than it is now. And it was super sketchy. Nobody wanted to work downtown because it was so sketch. So he took that route or whatever for the delivery,
The one no one wanted to take.
Yeah, for Stroh's. And then he got the deal with the Tiger Stadium at the time and everything. So he delivered to them.
Oh, he hustled.
Then he was the top selling dude for Stroh's for a long, multiple years. He was the number one salesman.
Wow.
Got cool bonuses. I think they would give him a trip to Florida or something once a year for the top salesman.
That's crazy.
So he got
What's Stroh's?
Stroh's is a beer that was really popular back in the day.
Okay.
And then it's kind of around. It used to be the beer of the Tigers. Now it's freaking, I don't even know what it is. Miller High Life.
So
it actually might be Labatt.
He delivered Stroh's?
Stroh's, yeah.
Okay. Damn, that's
so he
great.
hustled. And then his dad owned a liquor store, but he ended up getting murdered, shot in his store.
His
and
dad?
killed. Yeah, my great grandfather.
R.I.P. Dude, in
Yeah.
a liquor store? Where?
Yeah. I don't know, actually.
That's wild.
Yeah, pretty wild. But then he my grandfather also, there was a dude back in the day you probably don't remember it. It's kind of before your time a little bit. But when phone cards came out, where you could have like 300 minutes on a card.
Oh, yes.
But
I know what you're talking
it would be
about.
like for like payphones and stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So you would have-
really?
People would do like to call like long distance to like Mexico or something would be crazy expensive. So they started selling these phone cards. And a dude who owned one of the liquor stores that he would deliver to said, hey, you should invest in this. And he invested and then got my dad. He told my dad too. And my dad invested too. And he made a gang. He made like $100,000 or something.
No.
Crazy. My grandpa. My dad made like, he made like $30,000 or something. That's how he bought his cabin up north. He put that as the down payment.
Insider tips,
Insider
dude.
tip.
Insider tips.
Dude, I was like, what?
It's not about like what you know sometimes. It's about who you know.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool story.
That's wild. And then
My gramps killed it, dude. He was like, yeah.
so that was your grandpa. And then that took the
Yeah.
route. He's from Italy. Have you met him?
Yeah. He passed away, but yeah. We used to do summers when my mom would work and stuff. We would spend, I think every Wednesday we would get dropped off at my grandma and grandpa's.
Would he speak like broken English?
No, he had really good English.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they didn't really, actually, I didn't ever thought about that.
It's
They
wild.
never had an accent like that. Holy shit.
Did they have like a? See, I picture all Italians that, like, I'm like generation
really
Italian,
Good point.
but like, I picture all Italians like if their Italian accent isn't there, like they're like European Italian, like traditional. I picture them all having like New York accent.
Yeah.
It might just be from movies and stuff, and all the ones
Just from
I've been
growing
around.
up in Jersey.
Yeah, it's true.
But
So
that
like,
is
did they have like a
strange.
Michigan accent? That's what I'm curious of. Like, did they sound like they were from Michigan?
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I couldn't say because I'm just used to that. I don't really remember that well. I don't
Yeah.
think he just sounded like good English.
My next door neighbor,
I wonder why that is.
my neighbor here is he's very old. He's like in his 70s or 80s. His name's Dominic, and he came from Italy, Salerno, and he came when he was like 18 to Dearborn, Michigan.
Dearborn, baby.
He told me the whole story, and I sat with him. We had like a slice of pizza together at his apartment. The guy smoked cigarettes inside and stuff, like gnarly. Like, it's just crazy because he didn't know any English or have like a job or anything, but he just came and figured it all out, and he was alone.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that's probably like your grandpa though.
Yeah, him and my grandma moved off the boat, man. Came on a boat.
They must have. Do you think they
didn't
like
have
tried
it.
to knock out the accent because of like racism and stuff?
Yeah, back then, it was a big thing, yeah.
Because they would even take vowels off their names, like when they would get here.
Yeah, back then it was not good to have an accent or even speak another language.
Or
in the
have
US. Yeah.
or have a name with like multiple vowels.
As an immigrant, you're second class citizen for sure.
Because there's a lot of Italians now. Like my dad told me when I was younger, you can always tell someone's Italian usually by their last name ends in a vowel. Like, and now there's a lot of like, I knew someone with the last name Gerard, but their real last name was Girardi when they came to Italy from Italy. So it's like different things like that. It's
Just
wild to
the
think.
dude writing in the book. It's like, I'm gonna change it to that.
And your name is like a very like.
We're Mancina. Everyone calls me Mancini.
Oh yeah.
Mancini, because you see like Mancini all over. Like, it's always like a deli. Or
A
something.
name's like a sacred thing though, almost, So it's like you
For
come
sure.
to America, you think you're about to be free, and they're like, no, you got to change that name though.
Yeah, that's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, Ellis Island, I've been there.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we should go. I want to go and try to find the name in there. That'd be cool.
It's pretty cool. Like we took the ferry across, and it was a school trip.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we got to like take the whole tour of Ellis Island, and then do like it's like a ferry ride where they take you around the island and stuff.
A few years back, I don't know if they're still doing it, but you used to be able to get like a European passport if you had I think like your grandpa.
I've heard that.
You can get a European passport for like anywhere in Europe.
Like dual citizenship type thing.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
I tried to do it, but the records, I couldn't find the records from my grandpa. There was like mixed things. Because I think he moved to Virginia or West Virginia for a while.
Did he come into Ellis Island?
He was young. I think he was like, was he young? Yeah, I think he was like a baby, dude.
Mm-hmm.
He was younger. And they would like lie on there a lot of times to say, I don't know, there's some weird thing where some of the paperwork said he was born here and some of it said that he wasn't.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
They would say that you were born here to get the kid citizenship.
Yeah.
So I think they had done that in one time at one point. It was weird, so I couldn't. I don't know. It was hard to find. I was like, I don't know what to do. But
You know, that's like a lot about your grandpa's like story though. Like from immigrating, like just coming to America and doing that.
that's like all I know.
I'm really curious. No, I know, but it makes me realize I don't know much about
Yeah.
where my grandparents came from and stuff. And it sucks because my dad's parents both passed away,
Mm-hmm.
and they were the ones with a lot of like history from traveling over from
Yeah.
Italy and stuff.
They're the ones who came over.
Yeah, I gotta talk to my dad about that. Let's see what he knows.
Another thing I know is he was in World War II, and he stormed Normandy day 2.
Oh man.
But he was Italian, so they wouldn't give him a gun, so he was a medic.
Wait, they wouldn't give Italians guns?
Yeah, because technically they were like alliances with Germany or whatever, you know,
Oh yeah, because of Mussolini.
all that. So,
Yeah.
but he was over here and he went.
Oh, he was here and fought for America, but
Yeah.
he was oh, okay,
Right,
okay.
so they're like,
yeah,
yeah, you
so
don't-
they
you don't
didn't
get-
trust him with guns.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, so he was a medic. So he's supposed to save their lives.
Day 2, Normandy, dude,
Damn.
on the beach. He never talked about it. I asked my brothers and stuff. He wouldn't go into it.
Yeah, I know my
so it
grand.
must have been gnarly.
I know my grandpa was a World War II. He was on the ships. He was in the Navy,
Yeah.
and
He might have been with my mom's grandpa. He was Navy.
he had all the like traditional Navy tattoos and stuff, like the sailor
Yeah.
ones and stuff, like the anchor.
See, I don't know much about my mom's side. Because, yeah, my grandpa on that side was Navy. I can't even remember the name of the ship that he was on. I could find that out. Maybe they're on the same ship. That'd be cool.
My grandpa told me a story about the Grandpa Clark. He told me a story about when he was younger. He was trying to get into the army,
Mm-hmm.
and he's colorblind, and you couldn't go into the army if you were colorblind. And he went to the test. He failed the first test, and he went back. And he asked the guy in front of him, "Hey, what are the things on the sheet?"
Yeah.
And he memorized the whole thing and went in and passed it and got in the
Yeah.
army.
That's funny. Nowadays, people trying to get out of it.
I know. I know.
Back then, you're trying to get in.
Yeah, the freaking.
Well, I know my grandpa's ship got hit by like something.
I got to feel the ships. Like I went to it was some type of museum or something, and they were still like parked on the water and stuff, but they were these massive ships
Yeah, they're just
from World War II. Yeah,
retired
and
ships
they have
out
like
there.
they show you where the cannons are and stuff. The cannons,
Mhm.
that is insane.
Yeah.
The balls. We went in a submarine. That was really cool.
That's really cool.
I would not be able to be in a submarine.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I would freak out. You can't go anywhere. You're underwater.
You're stuck.
You're just being hunted.
Back then, they were probably so much smaller too.
It's wild to think back then we had that type of technology.
Yeah. To be able to just
Dude, live underwater in
yeah.
a thing.
Yeah.
like-
Pressurized.
Crazy. Would
Yeah,
you go
there's some
scuba diving?
Crazy technology. Yeah, I guess. If I had the opportunity. I'm not gonna go out and seek it, but
Yeah. I've always wanted to
I
do
feel
that.
like it wouldn't be that much fun. 'Cause
Yeah.
You can't like look around. I feel like half of it is like looking like what does it look like?
100%. But
Yeah.
what about like
Would
just
feel
being
cool
able to
down there.
breathe under the water
Yeah.
and being able to feel everything?
yeah. I do enjoy being underwater.
And
Holding
like
my breath and just chilling, yeah.
even rocks under like that have been in water, they're so much smoother. Things
And be
feel
able
so
to-
different.
And be able to walk on the bottom.
Can you do that?
Yeah, you go at any level or depth.
You could just walk?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought you're like treading kind of like the whole. You're like
no, you
swimming.
You have weights, and then you have a vest that can either pump up with the air so you can float,
Oh wow.
or you release the air and like level your buoyancy out or make yourself heavier. So you can like walk around on the bottom, yeah.
I think I would freak out. Like
cool.
I would use up too much of my oxygen too quick. Like I would start panicking.
Yeah. That's the old divers, like the first divers in the Navy. You ever seen those suits?
No, I never even
They're
seen a diving suit.
Insane, dude. It's this giant like copper or bronze, like huge helmet with just like a little window in the front and then like little ones on each side.
That's nuts.
They are insane, dude. Like heavy, like over like, I don't know. I think they're like 200 pounds, just the suit.
How can you? Oh my!
It's wild. And then it's just like a tube coming from the ship that feeds you air.
That's intense.
You know, you're not wearing a tank. So you got this tube behind you that could just get freaking severed or whatever. At any point.
Have you ever been in a helicopter?
No, I've never flown in a helicopter. Have you?
No.
Are you going on you should do a helicopter trip in Hawaii.
That's the plan, definitely.
Yeah,
a helicopter tour. Like, obviously I won't be able to see anything, but I think the feeling of that would be such a rush.
That kind of flying would feel really cool.
You could do a helicopter ride with the wind or the doors off.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is nuts.
Even that feeling of, because flying in a plane is way different than that, because you can like pivot so quick in a helicopter. You know what I mean?
And you're like, I feel like you would feel every gust of wind.
Yeah, and you can hover, which is crazy. So you'll be like flying and you can like freaking swirl all around.
Oh my gosh.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's also scary.
I really want to go in a jet. That's my dream.
A jet? What's the difference between a jet and a plane?
Well, I mean, technically it's just the engine is a jet engine instead of propeller, but now most commercial flights they're all jet engines, but I want to go in like a fighter jet.
Oh, like a fast one?
Yeah, like a freaking F-16 Raptor.
There's somewhere I think it's in the deserts of like Vegas or Arizona or something. You can like go in these 2-person stunt type planes.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, I know. That'd be wild.
I want to do a loop.
We should do that.
I want to do a loop in the air.
Yeah, so like a flip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Oh my god. What is like the
Bless me.
because that salute.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Salute. What is like the most because that's like a big rush feeling, you know? Like that would be a huge rush. What do you think in your life, what's the biggest rush you've had?
I don't know. Probably just bull riding.
Bull riding?
That would probably be it. Aside from like certain skate tricks. Yeah, nothing crazy like that. It had to be bull riding, yeah. Yeah, the first time I rode a bull would be probably the most rush. Like just doing an activity.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling that. Yeah. Which I've talked about. That was intense. What about you?
Mine, something right away that comes to mind would be swimming through the rapid, like in the Grand Canyon.
Like whitewater rafting or swimming?
Yeah, whitewater rapid. I swam through it.
Oh, you swam?
So when I went on the 90-mile whitewater rafting trip up the Grand Canyon, it was 7 days. And you're in the little rafts. There were 7 rafts, and half blind people, half sighted, and each raft had a guide that was like the rower. And what happened? We go through all these rapids and stuff, and finally we get to a rapid that they're like, it's like a class 1 or 2 or something. I think a 2. And like the Colorado River is crazy. Like I'd never experienced anything like that. The way that the rocks form underneath the water to push up these crazy rapids. Like you've heard rapids on rivers and stuff, but I've never heard anything like this.
Yeah, this is a real deal.
Yeah, like miles away, certain rapids, you could hear them. And you're like, oh shit, we have to go through that. I remember one rapid, they had to get out and scout like the rapid because certain days you can't even take it or you'll die. And that's the other thing. You have to have such a pro that if someone just tried to go on it, if you hit certain of the, like certain rapids at the wrong angle, you're dead.
Yeah.
So that was like life or like the whole time you're thinking life or death. Like on that trip, it was insane. And I went on this trip thinking rapid was like nothing. Like seriously, I had no experience on a river.
Yeah.
And I go down, I'm like, this is going to be fine. You know, I go walking through the park. And day one, we go through our first rapid. And I remember, like, you go through so first, before we got to the real rapid, you go through like a couple little, like, you know, down water hill things, like just real easy passes. And I'm like, oh, these are a joke. And then we get to one and I hear it and I'm like, it's, and that's like from real far away. And then when you get close to it, you can barely hear the person next to you.
Right. And
we get there and my heart starts pumping insane, dude. Like my body tenses up. I'm like, this might be it. And then, but also I'm like, all right, but it'll be fine because we've been through these. We go through this rapid. All of a sudden, the boat, like the raft is a circle, really thick, like blow up plastic kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And rubber, whatever it is. The thing bent. I was sitting in the middle of the raft on the side. It folded in half to where it was hitting me in the face. And I'm like the whole time, like, what the fuck is this supposed to do this? Like, they never told us about the raft, like, bending. And then all of a sudden, like, you think you're about to get flown out of this thing. Like, you're on the side, like, the raft is on its side. And then you make it through and you're like, and then I'm like, fuck, dude, this is only day one. Like, I have 7 days of these. And that was wild. But when I swam through it, you have this life vest that's like a pillow, too. A pillow pops up when you lay back to like protect your head type of thing. And they're like, in
case you hit your head and you get knocked out.
Exactly. And they're like, okay, you have to go feet first and do not try and fight it. And just breathe every time you get up, but don't try and like force anything. Just let the rapid go. Cause like you're not gonna know what's up or down at a certain point. Dude, I was they gave everyone the opportunity to swim it. I was the only one that said yes.
Yeah.
Me and one of the guides did it. So I go, I'm just like, oh shit. Like I didn't know what I was thinking. And it just starts pulling me. I get out of the raft, I lay down, and my feet first, it starts pulling me down this like rapid. All of a sudden I go down a hill, like a water hill, and it gets louder and louder. I can't hear anything, so now I'm freaking out because I don't know if they're trying to communicate to me or what. All of a sudden, I get smashed in the face by a huge wave. So now I'm like disoriented. I don't know where I am. And because I had a little bit of vision back then. And now it's gone. And I'm like, okay, like you just got to stay calm. But I'm freaking out inside. And then all of a sudden I get pulled under. Like while wearing a life vest. Being pulled underwater is the gnarliest feeling. And then there's waves coming from it. It's like a whirlpool. Like there's waves coming from all angles. Like it's just swirling. And I'm in the middle of it. And it's like a freaking toilet bowl. Like, and you get swirled and swirled. And all of a sudden the water's like around you and like pouring in from all angles. And I'm like underwater. Finally, I get up. And I think I'm about to die because I can't breathe. And when I get up, I'm like, like breath of air. And a freaking wave comes and smashes me in. I'm like, and then when I finally got through the rapid, I was literally like spitting up water and stuff. Like couldn't believe I was alive. And it was magical though, dude.
Was that like, the last part of it? Was like the whirlpool was like the final.
Yeah, that's like the eye of the storm type of thing. Like that's is the eye of the storm the worst part or is it the mellow part?
I guess that's the calm part, but yeah.
Yeah, but whatever. It was like a tornado.
So you were like, so once you made it through that section, then
like then you
was
start.
Was the guide like next to you or like behind you or in front of you or something?
No, they went after me. So I'm alone, like essentially.
Yeah.
They and then
just like watching somewhat from behind. Or
yeah, and there was another. So like a raft went first, and then my raft waited, and then the raft was there when I like ended to like grab me. Oh man, dude!
So does it keep you in the center of the river pretty good when you're going down? You know what I mean? There's not like you're not gonna like go off to the side
No, if you hit it at the right angle, that's the thing.
It
You
would
have to
just send
entry.
you
It's all
right down.
Yeah, it's really crazy because we did 90 miles, and every couple miles or whatever, there's like some rapids, and maybe every like 10 or 15. I'm not sure. I can't remember it correctly, but we, what was I saying? The rapids would be, when you're around them, it's so loud and it's echoing off the walls of the Grand Canyon. And so everything's amplified. And then the second you get by the rapid, though, it's like so calm. Like you don't hear anything.
Right.
And it's wild because
it's like, oh, it's a nice peaceful river.
And then there's death ahead. Like, it's just, that was one of the coolest experiences.
I've heard that, whitewater rafting is intense.
Super
fun.
Being in and that was my first time ever at the Grand Canyon. I got to go in. Like, that was.
I didn't even know they did that.
I wanted
to just float it
through Eric Weinmeier, like the Global Explorers. It's called Leading the Way.
Well, I didn't know. Yeah, I'm just saying I didn't know you could actually put a vest on and do sections of it.
Oh, that part. Yeah, that was freaking.
That's really cool.
These people were like water rats. Like, that's what they called themselves.
I loved it.
Yeah, they're all about it. And we would I learned a lot. Like, we'd set up camp every night, and we'd have to like build the kitchen, build the bathroom area, and then we'd just sleep on literally the like sleeping pads or the sand just under the stars because it didn't rain.
Yeah.
Some kid got bit by a scorpion.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it stung.
Yeah, stung by a scorpion. Yeah, I was scared of those every night.
One or no?
Yeah.
What did they do?
They had like a person on it, like they got it in time. It happened like right away, and they were able to like. There's like ointments and stuff, but it was crazy. We had these like
scorpions terrify me.
Are they called jerry cans? What are they called? The things they use in the army for like water.
I don't know.
But we had those, and you would fill it up from the river, and then it would do this like pH balance thing and like clean out the water, and we'd use that to drink. It was really cool experience, and it wasn't just like, oh, we're going whitewater rafting. Like, it was also like a class too, because they taught you so much, and you had to like learn about all the different sediments of the Grand Canyon, how it came to be, like the first settlers there. Like, it used to be an ocean. Part of the ocean, and because we went on one hike, and there was all these like fossils of like old underwater plant life and stuff from the ocean, like
cool.
Different things. It was really cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
It was wild.
What do you mean? Do you know more details about the ocean? Like,
I think the ocean used to cover a lot of the earth.
More.
Yeah.
The earth. Yeah. Before everything froze.
Yeah, I wish I was like 17.
I didn't know that.
I think it was 19 when I did that. And I wish I freaking. There was no I didn't bring my phones or anything on these trips, you know.
Yeah.
So there's no documentation. I can't write in a journal.
There's gotta be some rafting in Hawaii, I would think, right?
Yeah, but
they have a lot of waterfalls and stuff.
I feel like I went. It's like going from a Ferrari to a Honda. You know, I had the craziest experience. I don't think you can get much better than whitewater rafting in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, that's insane.
And also, it's hard to trust if a random person tells you, "Oh yeah, I'm a guide for the water rafting. Like, let's go anytime." It's like, all right, where's your credentials? Because I don't want to die on this trip.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I met some really cool people on that
It's
trip.
weird. A lot of those guides are just kids on break from college. You know what I mean? It's just some younger kid.
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
Dude.
Yeah,
you got it. It's crazy.
Dang, so somebody probably just had a raft with all the supplies. Right? You know what I mean? There's probably just a raft that was just a guide, and he's just in charge of bringing all the supplies in one raft.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they had these, everything was in this crazy bag that
big waterproof.
Yeah, water bag, and it like you fold the end of it and then roll it up.
Mm-hmm.
And they brought even 2 guitars on the trip.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it was sick. 2 acoustic guitars.
That's cool.
The one guy, this one real hippie guy, who I was on his raft a lot. I'm trying to remember his name. Tom. His name was Tom.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, dude, like, he was like a musician, like from Cali. He dated Sheryl Crow for a little bit. Yeah, he was telling his whole story. He's like, yeah, man, I was like walking in Sheryl Crow's house. Like, she brought me down, like, to the room, and there was all these, like, records and guitars. I just started playing one, man. I was playing with Sheryl Crow. He was like,
my God.
and then he proceeds to tell me, but you know me, I'm like the derelict junkie you don't want in your house. Like, I'll be second you're like not around, I'm opening all the medicine cabinets and shit. I was like, whoa, Tom. I was like, jeez.
Dated Sheryl Crow.
Yeah, he'll
be telling that story.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes. It was so good though. It was such a good trip. He told me one day, he's like, you gotta play your guitar to the food while it cooks, man.
What? He's out there.
He was teaching me Tai Chi and stuff.
No way.
Oh, it was a great trip.
Tai Chi Tom.
Tai Chi Tom. That's his name.
Oh, that's funny, dude.
Yeah, don't let Tom in your house.
Yeah, I wanna whitewater rafting. That is a good one. I forgot about that's kind of one you don't think about much of, like something that's really exciting to do.
Dude, even conquering
It's not big. It's only big like there's only so many places you can do it.
I feel like it's big in like Colorado,
Anywhere with the big
like
river.
Utah, yeah.
Because we don't really have like crazy rapids like that on the rivers in Michigan.
That's what I'm saying. I thought I've been to a river until I went to that, like
Mhm.
Colorado River. I was like, this is.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was
Damn.
wild. But one thing, you could still hear planes, and that's what pissed me off.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Grand Canyon, everyone's flying over that day.
The helicopter tours and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's like, we learned all about like sound conservation, like preserving sound and different soundscapes. There's rarely any more natural soundscapes in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Because the sound pollution.
All the sound pollution, from everything.
Yeah, that's a big thing with the airports. It's like when you're building an airport and stuff, you have to follow certain guidelines and regulations for sound and all that stuff too.
Yeah, speaking of,
I remember learning about that in aviation school.
Do you think flying a plane would be a rush?
For sure.
You think so? Because doesn't the plane do most of the work?
I mean, when you're flying a commercial jet, a lot of it is, but you're still in control.
Helicopter.
Yeah, helicopter would be really fun.
Do you have like a?
But a tiny plane is all you.
That's true.
Most of your, personal planes that people have you're still doing everything manually. And you still have to take off and land, and you still have to fly the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the landing and
a commercial flight. The pilot
taking
is most of the time still like steering. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I watched this movie with Denzel where he was a pilot. I think it was Denzel, and
The one where he goes upside down.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And he got so banged up before he had to fly. Like, he was doing cocaine and drinking all night, and then just does a line of coke and goes on the plane to fly it. And I was like, that terrifies me if that's.
Yeah. There's always a couple like viral photos and stuff of like someone on an airplane looking in the cockpit, and there's like a 6-pack in between the two.
Oh my!
There was one recently that was like that.
Someone told
I
me
think it was like Southwest or something.
Someone told me a story. I don't know if you were involved, like you were around for this. Someone told me a story where they were partying all night with someone, and they're up to like 3-4 in the morning, and he's like, the one person was like, all right, I'm gonna go crash, and the guy was like, all right, I gotta go to work, and he was a pilot.
Jesus, yeah. Yeah, they're all people. They're still
Yeah.
people.
Uber drivers and pilots.
Yeah, that's sketchy, dude. But yeah, I actually wonder about that. How much of it is like the commercial flights, how much of it is not manual anymore, you know? It's just computers. If you're a pilot, let me know. Let us know.
I would love to talk to a pilot.
Yeah, it's a fun job. My buddy is the guy I know. Grew up skating with a bit. He's a pilot.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he still a pilot?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I think he does training now. Trains pilots and stuff.
One of my most recent flights, we were at about to go like in the Delta Lounge, and this guy stopped and was like, "I'm a big fan." Took a picture and stuff, and he was like, "I'm a pilot," and I was like, "No way! Like that's sick." And he's I'm with Delta too, like with the pup, and he's like, "Did Delta get her wings yet?" And he gave us wings for Delta.
Should have asked him to be on the podcast. That was it.
Oh, that was it, dude. We need to get a pilot on here really badly. Shout out to us. Today's podcast is brought to you by Clusive.
Clusive.
Clusive.io.
CLUSIV.io.
Clusive is the first online e-platform designed for and by the visually impaired and blind.
You've heard us say it before, and you know that Clusive can provide training for the visually impaired to land an amazing job, work from home. You know, Clusive graduates make on average 1.8 times more the annual income than every other blind person.
That is right. That's almost double.
The only ones providing training for online interviews, because 86% of them are done online nowadays.
Dan believes in it so much that he got even involved in Clusive. And then I jumped on board. Because I believe.
I was with it from the beginning. Before Clusive did the online learning platform, we were doing a bunch of other stuff too. So I've been with them from the beginning, man.
It's amazing. Yeah, they're helping vets. They're helping a lot of people.
CEO Luke, my man.
Thank you, Clusive.
Yes.
And also, if you're a big company looking to hire blind or visually impaired, Clusive's going to help you to give you the tools and necessary things to work with this individual and get them on board with no problems.
They can get your website, all of your training, everything you need to train employees, everything you need to make your website accessible. Not just accessible, but usable. That's their big thing, right? Because there's these guidelines that say certain businesses, websites, whatever, have to do X amount to make it ADA, you know, like somewhat accessible. But that's just like the baseline. But Clusive is making it actually usable, because there's sites that I go on that are, you know, quote unquote accessible just because you can navigate the screen, but there's still things within that website or app that you still can't use and all that stuff.
Worst.
You know what I mean? It's like the worst. So like they go above and beyond and they make it truly usable for any kind of user.
Yeah, and the biggest thing I think with big companies is they're scared because they're like, how am I going to make everything accessible? How is this going to be okay?
Right. And
Clusive makes that anxiety go away. So thank you, Clusive. If you're that big business with a lot of money and want to get involved, go to clusive.io.
CLUSIV.io.
And if you're a blind or visually impaired individual, you
ask your counselor.
That's right. And click the link.
Yes.
Thank you, Clusive.
Thank you.
Get back to it. Yeah, flying would. We should see if there's a pilot out there that would take us on a
journey. My
like
Uber.
flying.
I forgot this. My last Lyft driver was he was like a newer pilot, but he just finished somewhat hours, and now. He said now that he did these certain hours, in order to fly for commercial, you still need X amount of hours flying. And he's like, now you can, but at this point he could be hired as like a private pilot, you know? So you could be like working for some dude and just fly his jet around. It seemed a little sketch to me.
I was just going to say.
I want like a 30-year-old vet from the Army who's been flying in any kind of weather all in the world to be my pilot.
Yeah, I want like a retired pilot, someone that's put their years in.
Yeah, that's what
I don't want someone just getting out of pilot school trying to get their hours in.
Freak out.
That's like getting your driver's license.
I want Sully, dude.
Sully?
Sully? That's the guy who landed the plane on the Hudson.
Oh.
That's who I want flying my plane.
He landed on the water?
On the river.
On the water, though.
You know the story, right?
No, I really don't.
What? There's a movie on it. The auto description was pretty good. The movie was kind of slow. Tom Hanks played him.
Oh, that's cool.
But Yeah, it was a commercial flight leaving, was it Newark? Newark or New York? I think it was out of New York.
Probably New
It's
York.
the Hudson, yeah.
Well, the Hudson's in the New York.
It's close. It could have been New York.
It
Newark.
borders both.
No, it was New York. I'm almost positive it was New York because they did all the bunch of
A
scenes.
lot
in
of
New York.
bodies in there.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. But yeah, I took off. They had a bird strike or whatever they call it, where a flock of birds, I think, went into both engines and failed both engines.
Wait, what?
So both engines are down. This is like shortly after takeoff. Cruising, and I think they kept telling them to try to make it to some closer airport, but it was still like miles and miles out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's looking around, and all I saw was the Hudson, dude, the river, which I never knew how wide the Hudson was.
Oh, it's wide.
I think of like Detroit River, where like it's like is it, maybe a mile?
Yeah,
If
you
that's
can like
3/4 of a mile. You
throw
can
a
swim.
stone across it.
Yeah, I ain't getting to that. But
I know,
yeah,
but you know,
figuratively, yeah, you can swim across that thing.
Yeah.
The
The Hudson's strong
like
current too.
miles wide, isn't it? Like 3 miles, like crazy distance.
I believe so.
So all he had was the river, dude, and he brought it down, no engines, freaking landed it on the river, dude.
But you would sink, or it was low enough.
No, it doesn't sink right away. It's a slower sink when you land on the plane because there's still somewhat of buoyancy with air and the thing and all that.
And then everyone was able to evacuate.
Everybody survived.
Wow.
They were all hanging out in the wings while it was slowly submerging. And then I think a bunch of like boats and stuff. A couple boats ended up coming by, getting people on the boats, rescuing, and then eventually Coast Guard and all that.
Sully, you're hired.
Dude, insane. That would be so terrifying.
That is.
Yeah, going down on a plane.
That's one of my biggest fears.
Pulled it off, dude.
My sister had a scare like that. She was on a plane, and they said they had to do an emergency landing, but they weren't sure if they were going to make it.
To like the actual airport.
Yeah, so it was like really scary.
They probably had them all in like the emergency.
I remember she called us all after. Yeah, it was nuts.
Sketchy,
I would.
It's not fun.
Yeah, and how many times do they try and like explain everything to you on the plane, and you're just like, yep. Yeah, you don't pay attention.
You're not retaining anything.
No. Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, dude.
Uber driver. Speaking of Uber driver, what's your weirdest Uber experience? Have you had one?
Yeah, I think we've talked about.
Have
that.
we? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
I haven't had anything too weird.
So I had one the other day where the guy
did you?
tried to fight me.
What?
Dude, Chompy was with my buddy who I skate with.
Mm-hmm.
And we get an Uber home from the Long Branch skate park, and Chompy added his address, but he accidentally added it after mine. But his house is on the way to my house.
Yeah.
So we were just like, dude, it's right here. Like, can you just pull over and he'll get out? And the guy's like, no, you have to, like, immediately yelling. You have to put the address in. Like, I'm going to the address it's taking me to. And we're like, dude, we accidentally messed up. Like, just, can he please get out? And then he was like, he started yelling, and then Chompy finally got out. And then I'm in there with Richard, actually. It was when Richard was here.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in there, and Richard's trying to be like, listen, he's, like, we're blind, and we're trying to, like, we made a mistake, blah, blah, blah. And the guy's, like, just yelling. He's not listening
He
at
did
this
let
point.
Chompy out, though,
Yes.
at the spot. Okay.
And Chompy's standing there, like, trying to call me, but I'm, like, ignoring his call because I'm, like, in an argument with this guy.
Yeah.
And finally, I'm like, dude, just go to my house. Like, please, just go to my house. He's like, no, you blah, blah, blah. And then he, like, locked the door, and, like, it got real scary, and he was yelling, and I thought he was about to come at me, and it's nighttime, and I'm all, like, freaking worked up. And I'm, like, in defense, dude, in defense mode. And at first, when we get in the Uber, he tried telling me I couldn't bring my cane in.
What the
He was
hell?
like, no, you can't bring that in here.
Was he trying to get you to put in the trunk?
Yes.
Your cane.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, dude, I came home. I was heated.
Oh, I would be.
I was
heated.
heated. I called Uber.
He doesn't even know he's about to get choked out from the back.
I was
you know how vulnerable you are right now? You're facing forward. I'm behind you,
I know, but I felt vulnerable because he was turned around at me, and it's like a minivan, so he can like jump in between the seats, and I'm like ready, dude. I'm like in full combat mode, like because I just don't know. This guy he's not stable.
Yeah, he was at the end of his night.
Oh
something.
Man, dude, that was really intense.
Did you say anything when you left? Like 0 stars, motherfucker.
I was just like, I'm getting out of here, like right here. It's fine. He was trying to like find the spot. Like, just stop, dude. Just stop. I'll find my spot. And he's like, oh no, it's right here. And he dropped us off a block away from my apartment.
Oh, he probably did that on purpose.
And I was like, fuck this guy, dude. Like, I was so mad.
Remember his name?
No.
License plate number?
I don't. I called Uber though. I let him have it.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Uber gave me like $10.
Yeah, they don't give you much.
Like, they are the worst,
dude. I've been getting so pissed off with Lyft.
Lyft too, huh?
Lyft with just here's the thing. I'll order a ride. Yeah, 5 minutes away. 3 minutes later, ride canceled. Looking for a new driver.
Really?
Those fucking drivers can cancel their ride anytime and have no fault. And then I cancel and I get
a fee. And
then once they cancel, there's no way of finding that driver and going back in the app and saying, dude, this guy canceled. Like, no, there's just nothing you can do about it or anything.
Here's the thing.
It drives me nuts, dude.
Here's the thing. They play this game too, because if you cancel, they actually get money. Yeah. So they do this thing where they wait for you to cancel. Like they'll be like, oh, I can't find it or something. I had someone say they would be there in 2 minutes, and you can like watch on the app where they are.
Yeah.
They weren't moving from like 5 miles away.
Getting gas or something, and
No, I called them because I was waiting so long. Yeah. I was like, where are you? Because they texted me saying 2 minutes, like 10 minutes ago, and they hadn't moved. And I called them. They were inside somewhere. I could hear it.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, they're always doing. I had the same thing. The guy said he was getting gas. I was like, okay. Waiting like another 5 minutes, same thing. Doesn't come. Like, you on your way? And then he just cancels. Yeah, it's so stupid.
I can't wait for the day that I could just hire one of my friends to be a full-time driver.
It drives me nuts, dude. You don't want to do a friend, dude.
No.
You want to do a stranger.
Yeah, but I would do it for a friend looking for a job.
I mean, yeah, but then there's too many loose.
Yeah, you're right. You do need a stranger.
Like, no, I'm on my way. They're going to be too loose.
Yeah, you're right.
You want to hire a stranger to do
it. That's very true.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want to get in business with friends or family if you don't have to.
I want like a Lincoln Town car.
Yeah, you got to have a Lincoln car.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Lyft's been blowing it. And the price right now is just, it's not worth it. You know how much it costs? Late at night, skating downtown. My house is, 20 miles? It's like 45, maybe 50 minutes to go from downtown Detroit to where I live. Last ride was $98.
You think that's bad?
It's
a ride to the airport here?
Oh, the airports
Uber
are double.
150. Yeah, it's like 150 to get there, 40 minutes away.
That's what it is. And when I landed in LA last too, I was like, I guess I'll just take a Lyft. Yeah, it was like 120 to go to the freaking Silver Lake.
And for two of those,
30-minute drive. I don't have $100 to spend on a fucking ride, dude.
But that's the thing. For an Uber, this is what really irks me. For two of those, like the to and from the airport, you could have rented a car for like 4 days.
Yeah. And the LA one is so stupid because it's not even convenient. Because normally it used to be pick up at the airport.
Yeah, you have to take.
I'll pay the $100. No, I gotta get on the shuttle, go somewhere, and when you park in the shuttle, you still have to walk like a freaking few hundred yards.
Find like the parking garage or whatever.
Like, dude, this is so stupid.
It's not accessible.
Taxis are coming back because taxis are cheaper than that now. It's been reversed. It used to be that was cheaper, you know?
Yeah.
Now I've heard, I don't know if this is true because I haven't actually done it yet, but I heard you just call a taxi and it's like, $30 go to the airport is better.
Yeah,
So I got to look into that.
that's a good point. Taxis are probably coming back.
They're cheaper now. Than
Yeah.
the fucking
Speaking
rip-off.
of Lyft being a ripoff in the prices, Tia took a Uber or Lyft from the airport to wherever she had to go to Connecticut for the From Fest,
Yeah.
and the Lyft driver, it was like a $30 ride, but the Lyft driver, when she got in the car, they're already on the ride, like, and he's ranting. She even filmed it. He was ranting, saying she had to pay him a $25 tip.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't, Lyft like screwed him over or something.
I had this very similar, dude. That's so annoying.
You had an experience like that?
This was the last time I came from Detroit. That ride that was $98 was he didn't want to pick me up. We're leaving like the restaurant, and he had like a really thick accent.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't speak very good English,
and that's
Neither
really
do I.
hard.
Didn't speak very good. Is that right? But
no, that's hard though, especially when you can't see, because it's hard to communicate with each other.
Yeah, it's a little harder.
Yeah.
But he's like, where are you going? Where are you going? I'm like, then naming my city or whatever. He's like, you tip? I'm like, yeah, I'll give you a tip for sure. I got you. He's like, how much?
Are you serious?
Is this
before the ride starts?
I was like, I'll tip. Yeah, he didn't want to let me in because he's like, I couldn't understand what he was saying. I get in the car. He's on the freeway, and then he starts texting in his phone. I can hear him on his phone. I'm like, what is this guy doing? And then he was in a translator app, and he plays a message for me that says, he was saying something along the lines of, where we're going, there's not a lot of work. Because it was like, midnight, 1 a.m.
And it's
there's a
suburb,
dead zone, you know what I mean?
suburb town.
So he didn't want to do it, and it's still he's like, you tip. I was like, yeah, man, I'll go in. So I went in the app and I put a tip in there already. I tipped.
You let him get you?
No, hang on, because
all right,
it says you want to add a tip. I said yes. I put the amount in. And he's going to drop me off, and they always drop me off at the wrong house for some reason. They can never find my address. And I'm like, explain the house perfectly. He's like, yes, this is it. I was like, all right, thank you. I get out, started walking out the driveway, not my driveway. I knew it was the wrong one. And I'm like, all right, I'm just like livid at this point. So I went in there, and you were able to do the tip, and I took the tip off, dude.
You took it off?
Yeah, you dropped me at the wrong address.
Yeah.
You're not getting a tip.
No, and
it was already $100 ride.
And you're guilting me into this freaking tip. And he's trying to get money because he has to drive back to wherever he's going.
That now, like, you get a tip. Like, I don't know, dude. If you do a good job,
you're not entitled to a tip.
Yeah,
a tip. Like, I'm always gonna tip. Unless it's something like that. Like, that is a really shitty experience, and it ruins your whole night and day.
But I have my tip badge on my Lyft app, dude. I got my badge, all right?
No, I always leave a tip. And even after, especially during and after the pandemic, my tip went up. Like, just my standard tip.
Dude, that's another thing. COVID and the tips went outrageous.
Yes.
And now everyone's expecting like
at least 25-30% almost.
Crazy.
It's wild. And if you don't, you're a dick.
Yeah.
So it's madness.
I was going through the drive-through coffee thing, and the real scam is when you get to the window and before you hand them their card and they ask, "Would you like to put a tip?"
That I hate.
So
I hate
peer pressured directly into having
at least a couple bucks, like things you wouldn't leave tips for back.
Like, dude, you made me a coffee.
Like, come on, dude, please. Like,
I don't know. I mean, if I'm a millionaire, sure.
Dude,
I'll be tipping everybody.
I'll tip everyone.
But like, I'm making shit money too, dude. I'm trying to survive. I want a coffee for $3.
I always try to. The biggest misconception too is like when you're at one of those like really nice places or something, a lot of the people are getting paid shit. Yeah. So like, being nice to those people is actually a good thing too. And then like,
I mean, in a restaurant, absolutely. If you don't tip, you're a dick.
Yeah.
Straight up.
There was
any kind of real service like that.
There was a story. Actually, I think I told it. The girl wrote LOL, or this girl was bartending at DJ's, and it was like half off apps or food, and
DJs.
they spent like $100 on food, and so they ordered then it was like $200 worth of food. It was a lot of stuff.
Right.
And she gets the check back, and they wrote where it said tip, they just wrote LOL. And she like wrote a Facebook post, like a really heartfelt Facebook post, like about it, like real pissed off and stuff.
Wait, this person is was it a her you said?
Yes.
She's a waitress there?
Yes.
And the person wrote LOL.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
That ordered all the food. Yeah. After they left, she had seen this. So she was really upset, and like this was before like
maybe it said $101. LOL? No, never.
So what's it called? When she saw this, like this was before like this was when like Facebook was kind of big, and like you could write a Facebook post and it could go viral, you know? So she wrote a long Facebook post about just being pissed off about how they did this. And she's not a girl that like looks for attention, but she was like venting, like so upset. This ended up going like into the millions, like so viral to the point where people started somehow they like her Venmo was online or something. People started sending her tips from like other countries and shit. Like this went like global. People started mailing checks to their house. Like they were getting checks in the mail.
Oh my God.
For like 2 months. And she was at work one day and the phone rings and the bartender picks it up and they're like, "It's Ellen DeGeneres. She wants to talk to you." And she was like, "No, I'm not here." She said no. Like,
what?
Yeah, she didn't want the attention, but it just blew up.
Ellen was probably gonna give her like $1,000 or something.
I know, dude. Imagine the gift on that show. Yeah. Dude, blew it. But yeah, no, it was wild.
She said no to Ellen.
Yeah, she said no, and she funny. But how are you gonna say no to Ellen and then go be on a MTV show later on about going off to your first year of college, like long distance from your boyfriend type thing? It was like some like wild.
That's funny.
Wild.
Yeah, the tip thing. There's nothing better than going to a country where they don't tip, where it's considered rude.
Yeah.
Yes, dude. No tips.
No tips. You got to tip though. Oh yeah, in Europe when it's no tips,
it's
like
it's
like rude. Yeah, it's rude to give a tip. I remember I tried to tip in Europe. They were pissed, kind of.
Yeah, you don't do it. I like that.
I love Europe.
That feels good.
I fucking love Europe.
Just put the tip in the. Just pay your employees.
Europe's like, they do it right. They live right. They have siesta.
Some places.
Like there's
some
like
places do it
a lot
bad. But
yeah, it's true. But like
the good ones.
Spain and like Italy, like all these places, they like
the way work and stress is conceived. Or
I feel like stress is a lot less because you work kind of like bare minimum just to get by type of thing.
Yeah, there's places where it's no stress. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just about.
My mom was somewhere like that, trying to wait in a rental car, and it was like nobody in line. It took like 2 hours. She gets up to the front, like, what's the wait? She's like, I don't know. She was being a typical American, kind of, I'm sure. Cause my
no, of course.
Is. And the guy's like, stress is a killer. Just like,
fuck. Like, what the That's like a wake-up call, though.
Yeah, chill. But I mean, you're waiting 2 hours.
No, that's unacceptable. Time. That's like island time.
Work is island.
I'm really gonna have to slow down in Hawaii. That's the thing. Like you're gonna have to wait a long time for things.
Yeah.
People get mad at you. They're like confused when you get like flustered at like waiting for 2 hours when there's no line.
Yeah.
They're like, "What's this? Why are you in such a rush?"
Yeah. Because I'm wasting my life standing in this building that I don't work at.
Kelly's very like time management thinking, and if we like do something and then don't figure it out or something, she'll be like, "I just wasted 10 minutes of my life that I can't get back."
Yeah.
We
do stress about work and all that stuff.
We stress about a lot of the wrong things.
That's why we're number one, baby.
What?
Woo-hoo! I said that's why we're number one, though, baby.
Woo! Are we still number one?
Debatable now.
Yeah.
We're going down.
down, down, baby. Oh, street in the
rain. I don't know.
Yeah. That's
about it.
Yeah, it's a wrap. Make sure you leave tips, but Uber and Lyft, get better.
Yeah. Weren't you saying was it you talking about there was some kind of discount for visually impaired or something?
Oh, soccer is going into the Paralympics.
Huh? That was way off.
Did you say disc golf? What did you just...
No, some kind of discount.
Discount.
For Uber for the visually impaired?
No, I don't think so.
was
Sorry, I
you?
thought you said disc golf.
Oh no,
I was like, what?
Soccer? What?
A discount for the
Soccer is in the Olympics, isn't it?
It's in the Paralympics now.
Oh, Paralympics.
Yeah,
Okay,
no. So it's been in the Paralympics, but now America finally has a team,
Oh,
and they reached out to me.
okay.
Dude, I used to love soccer. I
Try
was
to get
really
into
good.
Soccer. Yeah,
I was really good.
soccer is fun.
I remember I used to hustle.
I'll
Like
be the goalie. That'd be fun.
the goalie has to be sighted. That's the only thing. Yeah.
That's not para. That's not para. Then go fuck yourself. You guys are doing it wrong. Same with beat baseball.
Yeah, that
Pitchers,
sighted pitcher.
Get
That's
outta here,
bullshit.
dude. So it's
Get
not
outta
it's
here.
not a
Yeah.
blind sport.
It's like a freaking
not a blind sport.
yeah. You gotta hold their hand through it still.
Yep.
You need
Okay.
sighted. No,
Sighted
get out of
goalie.
here. Goal ball. That's a real sport.
You know how hard it is to score on a sighted goalie when you're blind? That is bogus.
That is bogus, actually.
That's probably really hard.
Bogus. Yeah, we should try it.
Down. Tell them we want to come out there and train.
There's a
together.
place in New York. They do it every week.
Tell them we want to go try it out for a day.
I would love to.
Four Bad Eyes want to come out.
I remember real quick. I remember a memory where I was playing soccer as a kid. I was on the travel teams,
Mm-hmm.
and they used to just pretend like I wasn't blind, or everyone knew I was blind, and just let me fucking like do my thing. And I remember so vividly being at one end of the field, and this kid got a breakaway. So he's running across the field towards the other side, and there was no goalies for that like travel. And I sprinted from the far end of the field, and he was already halfway down the field. I sprinted as fast as I could and caught up with him, got in front of him to the goal, and he kicked it, and I saved it by tripping over it, bouncing on my butt on the ball, and it going out of bounds, dude. I was the hero. Everyone went nuts.
This is when you're like really little.
I was probably like 7.
Yeah.
It was so good. I thought it was gonna be like pro soccer, dude. Like, I was freaking FIFA.
That was the one sport I played as a kid like that.
Yeah, and I loved it. I was very into soccer.
Oh, yeah.
And one time at basketball camp, I was awful at basketball, but one time I'll never forget this feeling of stuffing Brendan Bonner when he went to go shoot a hoop, and we're playing like a game of 5-on-5, and I jumped up and smacked it so hard back down after he had like shot it. It felt so good. Everyone was like, "Oh!" We used to call him Brendan Boner. His sister's name was Meg. We called her Mega Boner.
Mega boner.
All right, eyes
You
and
were a
ears.
bully, dude. You were a bully.
That's not a
dude.
bully. They loved it.
Bully, dude.
Oh, I love Brendan and still talk to
See
him.
your true colors.
Love you, Brandon.
dude. All right. Yep. Thanks, listeners.
Thanks, listeners.
Email Dan@fourbadeyes.com.
Anthony at 4badeyes.com. And like and subscribe. Leave those comments. Ask your questions. You can even ask questions on the YouTube comments. Anywhere you want. Send in emails, whatever.
Easiest is email.
Yeah,
If you're just
easiest
right
is
on the
email.
YouTube right now, bam, that's easy.
Yeah.
to find it.
Exactly. Some people, it's an extra step, you know?
Yep.
All right, eyes and ears. Love you all.
Keep pushing.
Yep. One love.
Keep pushing, and one love from 4 Bad Eyes.